And we're back. Hey there, booze fans. I got a treat. I went out to Yellowstone in September of last year to pick a couple of barrels, and that's exactly what I did. I had never been there before. I had a great time, a great tour, and then we went out onto the patio. It was a beautiful day. Sat down, went through the samples, and came up with what I think are a couple of winners. This is the second. We're starting with the second. I called this Leatherbound because it's got so much leather and tobacco and baking spices and all the things that I love. The other barrel, from here to there, was the crowd pleaser. So since I already had the crowd pleaser, I felt confident and comfortable in picking one that tickles my particular fancy, which is what this does. So you have options of proof choices. So I went with the 115 proof because I think it drank best this way, and you could proof it down yourself at home if you wanted to. So without further ado, about 4.5 years old. I don't get wrapped up in that. I never ask any of those questions until after I picked, and then I only ask them because my customers are going to ask me. All right, I don't care. It's either delicious or it's not delicious. So I already know everything I need to know by the time I make the selection. Everything else is just superfluous details, in my opinion. All right, so now without further ado, let's get to the booze. As always, using my trusty Glencairn glass. Now, because of COVID when I was there, I had to select these barrels out of a plastic cup, which I must admit was a challenge. So this will be the first time that I enjoy this whiskey in proper glassware. Let's put our schnoz in and give it a whiff. Big, full, rich leather. Truth in advertising. Yep, there it is. Leatherbound. You don't have to guess. It's right there. Now let's take a sip. So the leather is just coating the tongue and then going into baking spices, and then there's the tobacco and the vanilla on the back. And honestly, at 115 proof, it really doesn't drink that hot. You won't confuse it for an 80 proof whiskey, and the other barrel is softer and has the alcohol is even more integrated. But there's a reason I went with the 115 proof on this. I just thought this is what showed best, and proof is in the pudding. So I think what you're getting here is a full-bodied, three-dimensional bourbon that has the vibrancy of youth, but has spent enough time in there to where you're not getting those green or grassy notes. It's a powerhouse. There's a lot of sweet bourbons out there, and so I'm often on the lookout for things that run counter to that, not just because I'm a Scotch lover, but just because I'm a variety lover. And I think this really demonstrates an end of the spectrum of bourbon that we just don't get to see enough of. So I'm always on the lookout for these ones. Not that it's bone dry. It's not bone dry. You're still getting that sweet corn in there. You're still getting that vanilla, right? But you're just getting your leather, your tobacco, your baking spices, and other things, to where if you had this next to, say, Evan Williams single barrel, the Evan Williams single barrel would taste like candy in comparison to this. So they're out on the floor now. We sold 10 cases today. I expect to sell 20 tomorrow. So they're going fast. Stop by, grab a couple. I think you really like it. And I'll be going back there in March to pick some more. So hopefully we're going to build a great relationship. Cheers.